on Coleman. Count on Coleman. If your world is looking strange, you can count on Coleman for change.
Hi, Baton Rouge, especially here in District 10. Here we are at Coleman's Podcast Media Center, and yes, this is a podcast. And you know what we do here. The purpose of this podcast is to let you know what's going on. You all know that song too. What's going on in Baton Rouge? What's going on in District 10? How do you need to get in there and be involved or just become knowledgeable of what's happening? And so this day I have with me a lady. So you all gonna get there because there is a difference in a lady and a woman. I have with me a lady who operates a business, and yes, ladies can do that, and that is the infamous Melissa Generes. She is president of Gulf Coast Gravel. Gulf Coast Gravel. I know when you think of gravel, you think of big, buff, burly men, but you look at this. She's the president of that company. And so I was truly impressed when I first met Melissa because I just didn't know very many ladies that operated a company that provided gravel for just all over, really, Louisiana, I would say. And so today, I just feel, I don't know how I feel, just glad to be sitting here with her, to know her. And then the other good thing about it, you all, you know, folk with goodness and then folk with a great heart, folk with wanting to help, even aside from being the gravel lady. And so, Melissa, I thank you. I thank you so very much for just circling such that you've become a part of my life. And so our conversations and what we do and glean from each other. But I want you to tell this listening audience about you and about Gulf Coast Gravel.
All right, thanks for having me, and I appreciate being here. The gravel business is kind of in my blood. I'm third generation, and it was kind of wacky how it happened. My grandfather on my dad's side dredged the Intercoastal Canal in the 30s. And my mom's dad was a road contractor, and he would build those farms to market roads, the small roads. This is interstates. This is 1930s and 20s and 40s. So my parents married in 1950, and my dad went to work for his father-in-law. And as a road builder, if you're driving along the highways, you see these borrow pits, and that's how we used to make roads. They would get a drag line, and they would dig the dirt up, build up a road, and then we would make sand, clay, gravel, and put on it. Well, Dad had the experience of dredging in his blood from his dad. So Dad started working for my grandfather and dredging sand and gravel for these roads that were being built. So it's kind of I'm third generation on both sides because I learned about the road building and I also learned about the dredging. And after school, I went to work outside the family business, and then 30 years ago or so, okay, more than 30, I went to work for the family, and Dad put me out at the gravel pit, and I was a ticket writer. And I'll tell you, working as a ticket writer, I did not understand the boys from Bill Platt. We would laugh at each other. I would say something, they would say something, and we had no idea what we each were saying.
Yes.
It took us 6 months of constantly laughing for me to learn it. And a few people tried to trick me and tell me that it was a 6-yard load when it was actually a 12 or a 14. So I learned through the ropes. And so then I went on and started just learning everything. I didn't know an excavator from a bulldozer. I didn't know anything. So I had to learn those things. But the institutional knowledge that I had growing up, I was mom's assistant. And when I was a little girl, my first job was putting the checks in order for her to do the bank recs. So I kind of just did it at her knee because she was the keeper. So we all just kind of learned that way. So that's kind of who I am and what I do. Now I take care of permitting, insurance, equipment purchases, employee relations, customer relations, and everything else that a business owner does. So that's who I am.
Wow. And so, young people, you all heard some stuff here. You all heard about the importance of education. I heard some math in here. I heard some reading and ELA in here when she talked about yards, how many yards it was, and then knowing the difference between the different pieces of equipment. And so you cannot get away from that big word, education. The other thing that I heard here was legacy. Legacy. Her parents, her grandparents, her great-grands left a legacy here where now she has picked up the torch and she's running with it. And you're to be commended for that because you've got to have a determination to do that. There are some people out here with businesses, but their children are not picking up that legacy and running with it. So you're to be commended. And so when she talked about those checks and the bookkeeping, let me tell you a little secret here that many of you may not know. Melissa DeGeneres was on the CATS board with me, and on that board, she kept an eye and made many recommendations about the money part of CATS. And so I want you to know that we are still remembering the many things that you brought to our attention, that you helped to kind of tweak and clean up, but we're still working on it. And to think about that audit, and that's coming up, and we know that you'll be back for that meeting as a constituent now, and you are appreciated. And so the gravel company, gravel, you all, many of us as kids, we played in gravel, but we never ever, I guess, thought about, here it is, a female operating a gravel company. How many employees you have, Melissa?
We have 24 at the gravel pits.
Wow.
And so we run 3 gravel pits right now. And when I was a little girl, I would go out to the pits and people would ask me, what does your dad do? And I say, he sells dirt. I didn't know. So, you go to the gravel pit, you see a lot of dirt and sand.
Yes.
So what does he do? He sells that stuff.
Yes.
So one day we were at the gravel pit and we were walking, and Dad walked by, I think it was a front end loader, and there was a little dollop of grease on the front end loader where you have grease points that you have to grease your equipment.
Yes.
And he took out his wallet and he pulled out a $5 bill and he handed it to the operator and said, good job, that needed to be done. And that kind of stuck with me because if you manage people and you have these 24 people, they're our people. I'm their people and they're my people. Mm-hmm. It's a community. And what I took away from that is you don't just always look at the bad, but you also say, that was really good.
Yes.
That needed to be
Yes.
done.
Yes.
Because now that piece of equipment is very expensive. And a front end loader is hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if your people don't take care of that equipment, you could really put yourself in a bind. So it's a culmination of everything. I don't think of myself as like a woman-owned business owner. I think of myself as a business owner. I don't, differentiate myself that way. I don't know why. But it is a male-dominated business. I kind of stick to myself. I don't really get too much involved with all the other people. I just try and do the best I can. And in the gravel business, really, we're not competing against other gravel companies. We're competing against ourselves. And Daddy always said that.
Explain that. Talk about that a bit.
We are dealing with Mother Earth. We're not making widgets. There's not a factory where something comes out. Your performance is where you make your money. It doesn't matter to me that John down the street is doing the same thing. If I run all my equipment, run my people, and I'm in a good deposit, I'm only limited by myself. Because Dad always said, you never throw a rock back in the hole. It may not sell today, and it may not sell tomorrow, but it will sell. So production is me doing my own producing. And actually, the community is very collaborative. If I have a pump that goes out, I don't mind calling the other competitors and saying, do you have a pump on the ground? So we're not competing against other people. We only compete against ourselves. It's our production, it's what we can produce, and that's where we stay in our little ecosystem.
True collaboration with other entities that do the same thing that you do. So, wow.
It's because the market is limited, and in the 70s, yes, there were big stockpiles. Nowadays, if you sell out by 10 o'clock in the morning, you open up at 2, and you're out by 10, you're working to make your own product. You can't worry about somebody else, what they're doing or your competition. So you are your own competition. You have to, and that's really kind of made me self-aware. Like, I'm my own personal guide for praise. I hold my own standard. I don't really mind what other people think.
Yes.
I know what I have to do, and if I do it well, then I'm okay. But you know that about me.
Yes, indeed. I'm about to say, see, I didn't know that came from the gravel, from her parents, so to speak, from a gravel pit, but that she just described herself. Believe you me.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so, tell us where, you said you had 3. Tell us where you're located.
I have to do this north, south, east,
there
west,
you go.
because,
Got to. That's right. You.
I'm not good at left and right in that north, south, east, west thing. So we are in East Feliciana, Livingston, St. Helena, and East Baton Rouge Parish.
Wow. You all heard it. Yeah. So East Feliciana, Livingston, St. Helena, and East Baton Rouge Parish. I love the way, Melissa, that you talk about how you balance it all in running a business, and so knowledgeable of what you do. And it's a business, but understand that the people are an intricate part of it, and they make the business really, and it's like family there at your establishments. And I can guarantee you that they do not mind working with or for you at all, because you value them and what they bring to the table. And so that's, and the other thing is about the growing. Talk to us about what you do to grow them to be better employees. the training or anything that you do?
Well, first of all, there's two generations of gravel people.
Okay.
There's the younger generation that training is different, and then there are the older generation that are like me, that are raised in it and they just know what they're doing.
Yes.
It's kind of comical. At the gravel pit, everybody has a nickname.
Okay.
Short dog, you know, I don't even remember all the names, but they're all of them. Well, they never gave me a nickname.
No, okay.
I'm Miss Melissa. So,
Smart folk. Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe it's that they respect me. They're not going to give me a, you know, a moondoggy name or anything like that. And training is very slow going. It's not something that you can learn in a day or a week. Not only do you have to learn the equipment, but you have to learn what a chain binder is. You have to know the difference between a dredge sleeve and a rubber that goes on a pipeline. How do you clamp it on there? Do you have to use a C-hook? There are 1 zillion pieces of knowledge that you just can't pick up at a time. And you can see an old gravel pit person go in, and what they do is they listen. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's great.
But if you listen and you know how things should sound, then you say, wait a minute, on that conveyor, one of those rollers is hitting wrong, which is going to tear up your belt and it's going to cost you downtime. Or I think that dredge is not, you know, at full pump capacity. You look at what's coming off. You look at the tailing and you look at the color of it. So you kind of intuitively learn those things, and you can't learn them in the beginning. So it takes time. Does that kind of explain what you asked?
That explains it. That explains it. And so, and some stuff is just a part of you, just in you. You're using your intuition, as you said, to know what the next step is and how to roll and how to do and what to do. And wow, yes. And so I like what you depicted as far as the ones with the institutional knowledge and the young adults.
Yes.
And I always tell children, if you listen, you learn. If you listen, you learn. And you said that they listen. They listen to what is and can determine whatever is about to happen or has happened. And it goes back to teaching children the basic things, and it carries over into work. I just firmly believe that. And then that education piece is ongoing. What would you tell a population of students that would be interested in doing what you have, what you do, what would you tell them when they finish high school? Do they further educate when they, and I'm sure it all has to do with what positions that they would be interested in there at the gravel company.
Well, what's kind of interesting is education to me was always important. And I love how I say the word important. I just changed it.
I hear you.
I used to say important.
Important. And now
I'm putting all the letters in there.
So. All the sounds. There you go. There you go.
When my son, he went off to college, and when he came back, he went to work, not in the office. He went to work at the gravel pit. He got on a front end loader. He learned the bulldozer, he learned the excavator, he learned how to work on the boat. He needed to learn years' worth of knowledge before he came to the office. Well, he came to the office and we were talking, and so what we've done is we set up a welding company, and it's called Red Stick Fabricating. And all the parts and pieces used to be welded at the gravel pit. And now we have a shop behind our office, and we are welding all the parts For example, a dredge has a suction. That has to be made. You can't go to the store and buy a suction for a dredge boat.
Okay.
It's 10-inch, 12-inch. So he started welding, and he spent the last few years doing that. And then he's going to learn, well, he kind of knows it already, diesel engines. So I think that if you enjoy working with your hands, if you get as much education in the trades, electrical, I think welding is so much fun. I've done it a few times, and I'm not very good.
Oh.
So,
But you tried it. But you've done
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it on my desk.
Okay.
It's my first weld, and it's really not bad. I mean, it's really not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Not bad.
So my son taught me you have to make little circles with the weld.
Okay.
So, so now he runs the welding company, which is Red Stick Fabricating, and we fabricate specialty parts. We make velocity boxes. We make pontoons. So you get styrofoam and you build a case for them, and that's what your pipeline is on in the water. So we kind of developed another business ancillary to the gravel business, and so we make these things for ourselves and our competitors because they're in the same boat as me. You know, they're out in the country in the hot sun trying to weld up something where it could be done so much more efficiently in a welding shop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm a big proponent of welders.
I can tell. I can tell. And so, in order to be everybody doesn't have to be a college graduate, but they've got to have some training and they've got to have some training of some sort to be able to be a part of a company such as yourself. Or
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it all depends on where you want to place yourself as to what it is what you're going to do, whether you are going to the trade school or the university or the
Junior college.
junior college.
It depends on the person completely. And I think that if you have your path and you know what you want to do, I am a big proponent of the trade schools. I think that if you have the basic education of high school and you go into a trade and you're proficient at it, you need to learn, no matter what it is. You need to learn about personal finances. You need to learn about taking care of yourself. You need to learn how to take care of your family. And these things are important bases. But after that, you have to decide, what do you want to do with your life? And I don't want to be oh, thank you.
Yes,
I don't.
sure.
I don't want to be a person that is strictly just a CPA, sits in an office and does accounting work. That was not my happy place. Other people, it is. I like to be in the business world. So yes, you have to find out what your heart is, and then you have to go find it. And I'm such a weakling, I got it.
You got it. You got it. Oh, you're not a weakling at all. Not at all. And so you all heard that. So, so often folks say college, and that's great for those that are college bound, but know that there are other avenues to get to where you need to be productive, a productive citizen. And how do you become that? By working. And then having a mindset of continuously learning, because learning is ongoing. And then see yourself just deep in what's going on, in order that, one day they may be able to be the welder there, or be their own whatever. And so this is wonderful here. I tell you, as I sit here and listen to you, I was at a meeting on Saturday with some folk with some drainage issues, and I am of the opinion that everything runs together, be it drainage when it floods, be it the drainage that you're working with. You may be able to help some of our folk here in this city solving a lot of these flooding issues that we have, Melissa, and it just wouldn't surprise me, Baton Rouge. It would not surprise me if the female comes up with that answer for Baton Rouge.
Well, it is interesting that I know I keep on thinking about when I was a little girl, but
yes, that's when it starts.
When I was a little girl and we would go out to the gravel pits, and when you go on a sandy road or a gravel road, you get little ditches. And Dad always walked around with a stick, a walking stick. And what he would do is he would take the ridge and he just put a little line through it. And what that did is it made drainage. Guess what? You always have to think about, we have ponds and we maintain ponds. We do everything is hydraulic dredging, which is water. And I deal with water every day. Underneath a plant, if there's too much water in that spot, you have a problem. So I literally do drainage and water moving from the time we start dredging until the time it stops. So you always have to think about at the tailing where your water's going. You have to think about how to handle your water. Where's the water going to go after you've already put it in the settling pond? So you do need to think about water and drainage always.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So if a young woman would come to you today wanting to launch a business, talk to me in a non-traditional, heavy industrial or blue collar field. What is the most critical piece of advice that you would give her?
Okay, I'm such a nerd, and I will share.
Okay. All right, come on. That's what I want.
I overlearn, and I hate to say it like that, but if I walk into a room and I'm going to be talking to the cat person about a loader, or I'm going to the John Deere people and we're talking about an excavator, before I walk in there, I spend probably more hours than I'm willing to say.
Yes, I know you.
And
I know you.
You know I do it.
I know you do.
I overlearn. So I don't walk into something, except I walked into here completely.
Oh, but you've done well, but because you are, overlearn.
I overlearn, and I know it sounds kind of nerdy, and y'all, all the information's out there. All you have to do is pick it up and learn it. And if you're going into a meeting and they're going to be talking about widgets, you go learn everything you can about widgets. So before I came onto the CATS board, I did spend more hours than I'm willing to tell you.
That's right.
That I learned about it. But see, I had a foundation in logistics. And when I had a ready mix company, I used to make concrete. 19 years. And I'm glad I don't do it anymore. So it was logistics. And I thought about the people as I thought about my ready mix. You have to get a person from point A to point B in a certain amount of time. If I have a job at the mall, I've got to be there for 10:45. If you have a ready mix and you load it at 7, it's got to be on site at 8:10. So it's logistics. And I think of both of them as perishable products. If the ready mix stays in that drum too long, you have to chip it out. If this person doesn't get to their job on time, they lose their job.
Wow.
So I came in with the mindset of running that kind of operation where, I had to think about tires, the heat, the traffic, all of those things went into me getting my product from point A to point B. And our product at Katz is our people, and we needed to get them from point A to point B in a timely manner. So that was really kind of where I started. So thinking about that.
Wow. So, and good work ethics. Just you can't get around that at all. You know, you talked about being there on time, having the logistics in place, everything, timing being the key. And so, wow, yes. And you've worn a lot of hats, Melissa.
Oh, yes.
A lot of them. Your head ought to be down like this. So you've worn a lot of hats, still wearing
Yes.
a lot of hats. And so,
And you did touch on one thing I want to mention about
please.
is I think my biggest advice is to give people, you need to instill in yourself a work ethic. And it's not something that can be taught. It's something you have to decide for yourself. And you have to go inside yourself and say, this is what I want to accomplish, and I'm willing to do the work to get it done.
Wow.
And people miss that point. They jump over that. They automatically say, I'm entitled to this.
Yes.
Well, you're not entitled to anything.
Nothing.
So what your work ethic will do is and you have to actually think about it. You have to start coming from the inside out and say, I'm going to get up today and I'm going to get these things accomplished. And that's going to be my work ethic for today. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because that really is something that's very important to me. And I think it's very important to the younger generation coming up.
Very.
They need to, I think at our age, it just kind of happened. But now I think we need to actually spend time concentrating on teaching, this is how you actually get to a good work ethic.
And I think that is, I don't want to say more important, but it is up there than doing the job. You can know how to do, but if that work ethics is not there, and a desire to be better, and a desire to be the best, and if it's not there, then there's an issue,
Right.
a big issue there. And so, and the other thing is, whatever you start, you gotta finish it. And does finish mean that you start and you finished and you finished? No, it means that you've started and you finished that, but you start and you finish that. It's ongoing, in my opinion, and that is something here again that I see that young people and even the not so young don't understand about maintenance of a thing and then finishing. And that is of utmost. And as you said, that has to start from the inside. Then it comes out to the outside. So, yes. So in order to so if you all are interested in launching a non-traditional heavy industrial company here, you all heard where you have to start, and that is with that work ethics. Work ethics. The question is, how bad do you want it? And so, tell me before we leave, how can general contractors, how can local development, and I dare not leave out governmental agencies, how can they do a better job of actively integrating women-owned aggregate and material suppliers into their procurement pipeline? How can they actively integrate you all into that procurement pipeline?
Actually, we actually sell out every day. So I don't really have to go and look for customers. I hate to say it that way, but that's the reality of where we are in our industry.
You're that good. You're that good.
No, I'm not that
You're
good.
that good.
But Baton Rouge imports limestone,
Yes.
and we actually produce river rock gravel, and they're both 57. It's a state spec, so we make the same product. The limestone is a great deal more expensive than our gravel. And so if the specification does not require limestone, then they use aggregate. I sell my product, through the parishes that we're around all the way to Lafayette. So they don't have gravel in Lafayette. So all the gravel they use in their sector comes from us. So I have probably less customers than I did 20 years ago, but they're all well established. It's kind of funny, you don't want to owe me money because I make a good understanding, and I have very good customers, and I have a very good relationship with them. And after I build that relationship, I keep them and I maintain them, and I give them the quality that they want. So when we started opening up in Livingston, I think it's Livingston, one of those parishes over there, at 2 o'clock in the morning. At 8 o'clock in the evening, all the trucks line up from Lafayette, and they sleep there until 2. And that way they can make an extra round and not be in traffic. So they make 3 rounds a day. So a lot of that product that we have is going to Lafayette. So it's not that I don't want more customers, but I have to keep the ones I have satisfied and happy, and I'm not going to chase another piece of cheese and make an extra dollar and hurt what I've already established.
That's it. That's great business.
Yeah. So more is not always better. You can do more for a short term, but you have to figure out what it costs you to do more, and it costs you exhausted employees, wear and tear on your equipment. So you really need to know the right number of tons you want to produce, and you need to shoot for that goal, or the right number of hours to produce, and then shoot for that goal. So I'm not really looking for customers. That sounds crazy, but it's the reality that I live in.
That's good business.
Well, and in 5 years, if nobody wants my gravel, then I'll be here hawking every contractor in the world.
Yes.
Come see me. Good gravel. Come on.
And so you all heard it, Melissa Generes, the president of Gulf Coast Gravel, Gulf Coast Gravel. So, in closing, looking ahead, what do you hope the lasting legacy of Gulf Coast Gravel will be, both in terms of the infrastructure that you help build and the standard that you have set for businesses?
My son came to work for the company, and my brother, who's my partner's daughter, came to work for the company. So we're training them. I probably have about 10 years left that I can work, the way that I'm working now. And I think that that's enough time, because they've been working with us for years now. So they've already learned how to read a lease, what insurance policy, how to do permitting. There's so many facets of our business that it takes years to learn. And so I guess my legacy would be that the next generation will take what I've done and make it better, maybe find another area in addition to welding. They might be doing diesel repairs, diesel engine repairs. I don't know what it would be.
Yes.
Whatever they find, it's the extra thing. Or I really don't know, but I know that I would like for them to continue on what was started many years ago.
Many, many years ago. And that's the epitome of what a legacy is and what's it all about. And so, Baton Rouge, you've heard it from the infamous Melissa DeGeneres. And so you heard where they're located. You heard how she started at the bottom, and now she's here. And I want to thank you for coming and just sharing what your knowledge today about a gravel company, and of course about Red Stick Fabricators, and then where you hope for your company to go. So I thank you. Anything else you want to tell the listening audience before we, as you say, toodaloo?
I do say toodaloo. That's about all I've got. I think I've talked my head off today, so.
Toodaloo?
Toodaloo.
Yes.
Count on Coleman. Count on Coleman. If your world is looking strange, you can count on Coleman for change.